I am an overcomer. Flowers of joy. This is a story about a woman working in a dahlia nursery who discovers that overcoming does not mean escaping difficult conditions. As she learns how dahlias survive through their hidden tuberous roots, she begins to see adversity not as proof of defeat, but as an invitation to trust what cannot yet be seen. Lucia worked in a dahlia nursery where summer seemed to have invented every color it could imagine. Crimson pompons stood beside peach-colored stars. White blossoms opened like lanterns. Purple dahlias leaned over the pathways as if listening to visitors whisper. Lucia loved the flowers. She did not love what happened before the flowers. One morning, she found several young plants bent after a night of pounding rain. "Oh no," she groaned. "We're losing them." The nursery owner, Raphael, crouched beside one battered plant. "Are we?" "Look at it." "I am looking." "The stems are damaged. Half the leaves are gone." Raphael brushed away some soil. "What are you looking at?" Lucia asked. "The part you forgot." Beneath the surface sat the dahlia's thick tuberous roots, storing what the plant needed for another season. Raphael smiled. "You're judging the whole life of the plant by what happened above ground." Lucia became quiet. That sentence followed her all morning. Lately, she had been doing the same thing with herself. A plan had fallen apart. Someone she trusted had disappointed her. Money had become uncertain. Several days had arrived, carrying circumstances she had not ordered. She had secretly concluded, something is going wrong. That afternoon, another storm warning appeared. Lucia stared across hundreds of dahlias. "Here we go again." Raphael handed her a basket of stakes. "Storms are not personal. They still damage things." "Certainly. We don't pretend broken stems aren't broken. We stake what needs support, prune what is damaged, and protect what we can. But fear adds another story. This should not be happening. I cannot handle this. My peace depends upon the weather." Lucia pushed a stake into the soil. "So being an overcomer means fighting harder?" Raphael laughed. "A flower doesn't overcome winter by arguing with January. What does it do? It remains rooted." That evening, the wind arrived. Lucia and Raphael moved through the nursery securing plants. Some blooms survived. Others snapped. One enormous orange dahlia that Lucia had been saving for a flower show broke completely. She stared at it. All her old thoughts rushed forward. What a waste. Why did this happen? I worked so hard. Then she remembered the roots. Lucia closed her eyes. Instead of asking the storm to give her peace, she became willing to find peace before the storm changed. I could see this differently. The wind continued. Nothing outside obeyed. Yet something inside loosened. The next morning, the nursery looked like a colorful battlefield. Petals covered the paths. Branches lay across flower beds. Lucia expected Raphael to be discouraged. Instead, he was carrying a tray of coffee and humming. "How can you be cheerful?" He pointed toward a damaged bed. "Look closely. Between two flattened plants stood a small yellow dahlia, perfectly upright." Lucia laughed. "Show off." "No," Raphael said. Tay began cleaning. As Lucia worked, she noticed something strange. Everywhere she had first seen destruction, she now saw possibilities. Broken flowers could become arrangements. Bent stems could be supported. Some plants needed pruning. Some needed nothing but time. And beneath every apparently ruined dahlia remained the part she could not see. The roots. Weeks passed. New growth appeared from plants Lucia had nearly thrown away. One morning, she found fresh green shoots emerging beside the orange dahlia that had snapped in the storm. "You came back," she whispered. Raphael overheard. "It never completely left." Lucia smiled. Perhaps that was the lesson. The frightened mind looked at circumstances and announced defeat. Spirit looked deeper. What was true had not been destroyed by wind, loss, delay, disappointment, or change. She began carrying a simple sentence through the nursery. I am an overcomer because peace in me is deeper than circumstances around me. Not because Lucia controlled storms. Not because every flower survived. Not because difficulty disappeared. She was learning that circumstances could reveal where she had placed her trust. Whenever fear arose, she stopped treating it as an enemy and brought it inward for correction. Whenever the future frightened her, she returned to the step directly in front of her. Whenever appearances shouted, "You are losing," she remembered that appearances could not tell her what she was. At the end of summer, the nursery held its annual Dahlia Festival. Visitors wandered among thousands of blossoms. A little girl pointed toward the enormous orange flowers that had grown from the plant Lucia once believed was ruined. Those are my favorite. Lucia knelt beside her. Would you like to know their secret? The girl nodded. They grow from tuberous roots beneath the ground. Even when you can't see the flowers, life is still there. The girl looked thoughtfully at the soil. So the flower is hiding? Lucia smiled. Something like that. That evening, after everyone left, Lucia walked alone between the glowing rows. She finally understood the nursery differently. It had never promised her perfect weather. It had shown her something better. Flowers of joy could grow in the rich soil of adversity. And every difficult season could become an invitation to discover what remained untouched beneath appearances. Lucia placed her hand over her heart. I am an overcomer. Then she laughed softly. Not because she had conquered the world, but because she no longer needed the world to behave perfectly before she could choose peace. May we sing, rest, and dance our way home together.